inquiry is underway, sparked by a complaint from someone within the intelligence community. It feeds the president's concern and often used term about a deep state being there to take him out.
Thank God for the deep state. With all of the people who knew what was going on here, it took an intelligence officer to step forward and say something about it, which was the trigger that then unleashed everything else. Now, why does that happen? What I tell American people why that happens is this is the institution in the U.S. government that, with all of its flaws, and it makes mistakes, is institutionally committed to objectivity and to telling the truth.
Oh, well, man, I feel so much better now. They're the ones who know the truth at the CIA. If they want to destroy a man running for president, just trust them. That always works out well. Joining me now, Daniel Davidson of The Federalist, author of the book Pagan America. John, these people, what blows me away is not that they're evil. I know evil people exist. It's that they all see themselves as being the good guy. It's wild to me to hear a CIA director say that and think, wow, I'm the good guy here.
I know. It's very rare that these people actually just come out and say what they think. They think that they have a right to rule this country and to rule over you and I, and that if we object to that at all, we're the enemies of truth and objectivity. We have to be destroyed and silenced because they're here to protect us and govern us, and it's their right to do so. That's what they really think. And every once in a while, gosh, they just come out and say it.
John, you have a great piece up in The Federalist I want people to go read. Our most serious national security threat isn't Russian nukes in space. It's intelligence agencies in Washington. John, I remember a line from a movie that I actually loved, everyone else hated, called The Good Shepherd, when they're building the CIA and he looks at a guy and he tells him, I really want this to be America's eyes and ears. I'm worried it's going to become America's heart and soul. It did. How did that happen?
Well, look, the intelligence agencies are the number one threat to our republic, our number one national security threat. They have very clearly been turned against the American people from the moment the American people did something that they were not supposed to do, and that was elect Donald Trump to the presidency. Ever since then, our intelligence agencies, and evidence of this comes out more and more, seemingly by the week now, are basically at war with the American people. They were at war with the Trump campaign before he ever won the White House. They went to war with his administration, and then they went to war with his supporters, beginning immediately after the 2020 election. And they're still at it. So you have to follow Washington politics a little bit too closely for your own good to know what the Russian nukes in space thing is about. But suffice to say, they are trying to distract us from the fact that they, not whatever Russia's doing, are the real enemies here and the real opponents of freedom and self-government and our Republican way of life.
John, what was it about Trump that they found so threatening? And I'm not saying everyone has to be some kind of Trump superfan. I'm not. He's got plenty of flaws, but they all reacted to him like he was poison in their mouths and they had to get it out at any cost. And he was a guy, still is a guy, is really kind of moderate. He's a deal maker. He was always ready to strike a deal, and they acted like he was Francisco Franco. What was it that scared them so much?
I think the phrase that explains a lot of this is something that came up during the impeachment, the first impeachment of Trump, which was interagency consensus. Trump went against the interagency consensus on Ukraine, on Israel in the Middle East, on NATO, on a whole host of things that are near and dear to the intelligence community's heart. And they can't abide a president. Who cares that he's elected by the American people? The foreign policy and a lot of these other issues, but they feel belong to them. And if a president or if Congress or if anybody else goes against what they have decided should be U.S. policy, they will go to war with that person. And that's what they did with Trump, because he was not on board with the interagency consensus.
You wrote a piece about Mitch McConnell in Ukraine, and this is another human being I find fascinating. I can't stand him, especially anymore over the past few years, but I find it so fascinating, the two things he did. One, an amnesty bill with foreign aid, and then he dropped the amnesty thing, and then he just went with foreign aid. Never a thought about America at all. Didn't even, honestly, the most impressive thing was he didn't even pretend, right? He didn't even really pretend it was like about America. What's Mitch McConnell's deal?
Yeah, his whole thing was you can have Ukraine aid plus immigration amnesty. Oh, you don't want that? Okay, well, just Ukraine aid then. That was his compromise position on the border, was to grant 2 million illegal immigrants per year and authority for the president to suspend the whole thing whenever he wanted to. That was his compromise position. These people do not care at all about the border. They like illegal immigration. They want more illegal immigration. As far as Mitch McConnell is concerned, the Biden administration policy on the border has been a huge success because the number of illegal immigrants is at an all-time high. They like that. That's good for them as far as they're concerned. Representative Jerry Nadler a couple of weeks ago sort of accidentally said the truth in a hearing. He was like, if we don't have illegal immigrants, our vegetables are going to rot in the ground. They see illegal immigrants as like an underclass, like a servant class that needs to come in and displace American citizens and basically be, subjects that serve them, the ruling class. And so we really see in this whole debate where McConnell's priorities lie, and they don't lie at the border. He's concerned about Ukraine. That's the most important thing he can do legislatively in his mind.
Are they going to impeach Biden? I realize our majority is basically gone now that we got rid of that dastardly George Santos, and we have a Democrat there, and McCarthy retired, and is Biden going to get impeached? I mean, it's looking bad for him, but we don't have the numbers to do it.
Yeah, I don't think he is. I think, and I wrote the other day that the reasons to impeach him keep stacking up now. But I don't think there's going to get any movement on any of them. There's already ample evidence to impeach him for his family corruption. They've been working on that for quite some time. And you just see the GOP lawmakers that are, the things they've said about that probe is, oh, it's a mess. Oh, it's convoluted. Well, yeah, it's convoluted. It was a sophisticated money laundering scheme to sell access to Biden for policy decisions to benefit foreign governments. There's a lot of shell companies, but that's why you have impeachment investigations. That's why these guys have staffs and investigators. It is complicated, and it's their job to unwind it, but they're not up for the task. And then, of course, last week with the special counsel report, it's clear that Biden's unfit for office. There should be an impeachment hearing going on right now on that basis alone. But I have no confidence that they will actually do that.
John, I'm a world famous author myself. After all, I've written one book. You have a book coming out, don't you?
Yes, I do. At the end of March, you mentioned earlier, Pagan America, which is about what happens to America and society when Christianity fades from public life, as it is doing very rapidly right now.
We'll have you back on to talk about that then. I promise you that. John, I appreciate you, brother.